Bodhitam Bhagavata Narayana Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaita Amrita Vashinim Bhagavatim Ashtadasha Adhyayinim Amba Tvam Anusandadhami Bhagavad Gita Bhadeshinim. O Mother Bhagavad Gita, I repeatedly meditate upon you, who are the 18 chapters in the middle of the Mahabharata, composed by the ancient sage Vyasa, taught for the benefit of Partha, that is Arjuna, by the Lord Narayana himself, the goddess, that is Ishvara, the shower of the nectar of Advaita, who is the enemy of rebirth. That means the destroyer of rebirth. Okay, so that's what the Gita does. The topic that we are discussing is the mind learning to appreciate the ultimate cause in all manifestations and effects. Just how a goldsmith in his world of many ornaments can appreciate the one gold in many forms. This means the goldsmith sees infinite potential in the one cause, being the gold, out of which he can compose many ornaments in his world of gold. So this means when a normal customer comes in and says, I want this necklace, the goldsmith says, okay, I'll give you this necklace, but the goldsmith actually knows what is behind this necklace. Nobody says, hey, I want to buy gold for my wife. I want to marry. I want to buy a ring. In that same way, nothing in this universe is separate from its cause, from the one cause of this universe, which is Ishvara, in whose presence both yoga and vibhuti have their reality. What is yoga? Does anyone remember? Any recalls? What is yoga? We used some words last week. Whatever comes to mind is fine.
All knowledge, all power, unmanifest in potential.
Okay.
Very good.
Ishvara's unmanifest creative power called Maya. Not camel. Maya. Okay. And this creative power, which is unmanifest, called Maya, is manifesting as Vibhuti. Now, what is Vibhuti?
Glories.
Creation of Jagat.
Glories, what else?
Jagat.
Jagat, yeah. And there's another word for this?
Effect.
Effects, excellent. Prakriti, okay, Prakriti, yeah. And manifestations, okay. I like the word effect also. So effect or manifestations. So now, where does the word, when we say Maya is an illusion, where does this fit in this formula? This means that even the person who said it is also an illusion. And even the words Maya is an illusion is also an illusion. So what's the point of saying Maya is an illusion? So there's no place to go speak like this. Maya is an illusion. It's all, just there to trick us. This is all, thinking of the incomplete thinking. So we have to get our word terminology correct. So this means, so far, yoga, / another name for yoga, Maya, is the essence of vibhuti. What's the essence of manifestation?
Ishvara.
No. What's the essence? What is vibhuti? Manifestation. What's the essence of manifestation?
Yoga Maya.
Yeah, yoga or Maya. When you know that the essence of everything is of the one, then the relationship between the pleasant and the unpleasant changes. Okay? When you know that everything is up to one, what happens? What's the behavior, what's the attitude in life? Relationship to pleasant events, unpleasant events, that changes. What do you mean? Remember the word without resistance. Okay. Now, we used without resistance, we can expand on that. For example, suppose that a father decides to play a prank on his son. It's a good father, not a bad prank or anything. And the father puts on a mask and then shows up. And then the son screams, frightened. So the son is frightened because he's looking at the mask. But sooner or later, the son quickly realizes that the figure behind this mask is the very essence behind this mask is my father, the one whom I feel comfortable with, the one who won't hurt me. So this means from there on, the child is now amused. In fact, the child says, please put the mask back on. I find it quite amusing. So this means the child's relationship with the unpleasant has changed. It's not that the unpleasant has gone. The father's still wearing a mask that looks unpleasant. But the child has what? Objectivity. What is objectivity? Despite it seeming so, despite the event being pleasant or unpleasant, owing to my viveka, to my discrimination, I see what it actually is. For that reason, my relationship with life events, whether they are welcoming or unwelcoming, changes. We did not say that welcoming or unwelcoming events leave. Life is a series of mixture of sorrow and joy. That is not going to leave. But the relationship changes. How so? Because I see the very essence behind all of these vibhutis, which means effects, manifestations, is the one cause in which everything resolves, and that cause being Ishvara. So how does the relationship change? In this very same way. What way? Objectivity. This means the person who is called what? Vishwarupa Bhakta, Aneka Rupa Bhakta, Virat Bhakta, they're all synonymous words. How is their behavior? What is their vision? Despite it seeming like it's pleasant or unpleasant, I see the essence. For that reason, I am not afraid. For that reason, I can deal with it objectively.
So is the mask like Maya?
Yeah. Exactly. So Maya is that out of which many infinite forms come. And not all forms are pleasant, okay? And sometimes these unpleasant forms, circumstances in our family, at work, they seem unpleasant. And they will continue. It's not like a jnani is now free from all of the troubles. No, because this is a vyavaharika reality. It's an empirical transactional reality in which everyone deals with, okay? No one's going to have an exception for someone else because we're all in this empirical reality. When I say we, I'm talking about we as in body, mind, intellects.
So is the appearance of the Maya that appears before you, is that in accordance with your karma in terms of...
Yeah, that's why we said without resistance. So whenever we find ourselves somewhere in any moment, it is a result of some decision which we have taken at some point in the past. Can anyone deny that? Right? So every moment is a reflection of something I have considered, thought about, or felt, or intuited at some point in the past. Thus, I'm here now. And what does without resistance mean? I cannot change the fact that I'm here now, because I am here now, but what can I change? Where's the free will? In how I manage, in how I interpret, in how I deal with the fact that I am here now.
Discrimination.
With discrimination, viveka. Just like the sun, now there is a mask, there is an unpleasant mask, but I can deal with it because I see the essence behind it. So this is why knowledge is important. You can't just say now, don't worry, it's all just one. Well, what does this mean? So we first have to know what's the essence that is of this one in order to have objectivity.
Is Maya potential?
Maya is unmanifest potential, consistently manifesting as the very vibhutis which we are experiencing every second, including the very question that you just asked.
So in the golden goldsmith example,
The what?
The gold and goldsmith example.
Yeah.
The gold you said is the cause.
The gold is the one cause from the one potential from which all of these forms consistently manifest.
So goldsmith essentially is the manifest Maya, is it?
The goldsmith would be nimitta karanam, the intelligent cause, which is able to take the total consciousness and then seemingly create the dvaita out of it. Okay, duality out of it. Apparently take consciousness, not actually take consciousness. Because consciousness is nirguna. It doesn't have attributes. Nothing can grasp it. So this bhakta, what's the name of this bhakta again? Someone tell me, I forgot. 3 names. Vishvarupa Bhakta, another name? Virat Bhakta, and Aneka Rupa. What is a Virat? What does this mean?
The cosmos?
Huh?
Cosmos?
Cosmos, good.
Total physical body.
The total physical universal body of all things. This means there's not a single thing that you can exclude from the word Virat. It also incorporates that too. So thus, such a bhakta, recognizing that Ishvara is the one cause, is referred to as Virat. Okay? So what does Virat mean? The total body of all things. So in other words, Ishvara is manifesting as the total. Now, I use the word manifesting. Does this remind you of stage 2 or stage 3? Which stage is this? Stage 2, manifesting. What are we going to say in stage 3? Ishvara is appearing as the universe. Okay, so I'm bringing this up so you don't have to think, well, what about appear? What about manifest? Stick with stage 2 because we're in chapter 7 to 12. When we go forward, then we will go into appearance. Now, question will be, how does multitude of vibhutis resolve into the one cause? We used last week satya-mithya relationship. In other words, whatever form we take, we've seen that that form resolves into another form. In other words, in the shirt, there was what? The cotton. In the cotton, there was the thread or the yarn. In the yarn, there was the fiber. In the fiber, there was the particles. In the particles, there was you can go in quarks. In the quarks, there was a concept. And that very thought is in the presence of that one consciousness, quote, behind, which awares, which illumines that thought. So therefore, all things, all forms within forms within forms within forms are all composed intelligently together, and they all serve a function onto something else. For example, a form that is composed of a lung, they're just forms within forms, they're just blood vessels, mitochondria, nucleus, white blood cells. It creates a name form called a lung. And then you have a name form called a heart, a name form called a spleen, kidneys. You put them together, and you create a bigger name and form called a body. And then you go form within form, whichever way you go, up or down, it is forms within forms within forms, intelligently put together. What is intelligence? Sarvajna, all knowledge, because of which, pervading that mithya comes together, thus it creates a name and form which serves a function to something else. And it all resolves into the ultimate Satyam, which is Brahman. Okay? We did this last week. This is a revision. Now, in verse 11, we will ask, how does this Virat Bhakta have his or her ignorance removed by Bhagavan's grace? How does this occur? Tesham evanukam partham aham adnyana jam tamaha na shayam yatma bhavastaha jnana dipena bhaswata.
For them alone, out of compassion, I, obtaining in the thought of their mind, destroy the delusion born of ignorance by the shining lamp of knowledge.
Okay, shining lamp of knowledge. Firstly, Tesham Eva. For them. Okay, what is for them? For whom? I said previously, this Virat Bhakta, therefore, for Virat Bhaktas or Jijnatsu. What is a Jijnatsu, please?
Jiva with
Seeker of
knowledge.
knowledge.
Who wants Nishta Jnanam, a Nishkama Bhakta. So for a Virat Bhakta or a Jijnatsu, who want only Shreyaha, what is Shreyaha? Who want only the highest gain in life. The highest auspiciousness is what Shreyaha means. Only for those ones, they are eventually freed from jivahood. That means from being a person, thinking I am the small, limited person. In other words, they gain moksha. Now, what is Shreyaha? It's not there, but I'm adding a word. What does Shreyaha refer to? Krishna used a beautiful word, which I still like. Instead of using Jnana Yoga, he used what? Buddhi Yoga. Okay, the yoga of the intellect. And where does this knowledge take place? In the Buddhi. Therefore, Shreyaha refers to, according to the verse where that Buddhi Yoga was. And what is this Buddhi Yoga leading to? Moksha. In other words, it's a means to knowledge which leads to freedom from jivahood. What is the reason for receiving Shreyaha? Okay, why do these bhaktas receive this gift of this Shreyaha from Bhagavan? Okay, and it says Anukampartam. Bhagavan gives Shreyaha out of sheer compassion. And this compassion that we speak of is when a person says, or when you say in your life, I feel lucky. I feel lucky for what happened to me. I just feel lucky for some reason. So that phrase is a reflection of Bhagavan's grace. How is this grace invoked when you say I feel? Why do you say I feel lucky in the first place?
Because you can't pair the result with the effect. You can't pair what's happening right now with the past action, so you say you feel lucky.
Well, see, when I say you're lucky, something has happened in life.
Oh, you're experiencing a feeling of success.
Yeah, you're feeling like elevated, uplifted. You go, wow, I'm so lucky. Like this great event has happened in my life. I feel so blessed. Why do we say that?
Well, I guess we feel God's compassion on us.
Okay, it is compassion, but compassion arises out of what? Because Bhagavan doesn't just randomly send compassion to people.
It causes joy and happiness.
No, I suppose the fact that you're feeling lucky, not unlucky, means that you've come out of adversity into something. You've a feeling of adversity.
Yeah, but what
has
made
been
you
converted into
Good.
Past
And what-
karma.
Huh?
Past karma.
And
There's a name for that karma. Because of my punya karma. So only to my past punya karma, there was a delayed duration which I had not received any particular benefit. That's why we don't immediately get the results. And eventually at some point in time, the result comes. And then we say, I feel so lucky. Sometimes it is immediate, but in most cases it is delayed. So only to my punya karma, at some point, 1 year later, after, 2 years, it's sometimes 10 years later, 20 years later, sometimes at the last breath, that punya karma in all its glory shines. So now why does Bhagavan bless this Virat Bhakta out of sheer compassion? Because of his or her own punya karma. How else is this punya or this grace involved? How do you invoke it? Huh?
So it's not really compassion. It's because it is the person's past action manifesting. I mean, compassion means like you don't have to do it, but you just do it. You know.
I think when I talk about my past punya karmas, those karmas won't reflect to any worldly or physically karmas. That punya karmas are actually my compassion for him. And out of that karmas which I have, then he shines his
his grace.
because what I have understood so far, that when I'm talking about this, it won't be the punya karmas of doing good, just giving money in charity. That is just physical.
Yeah.
So when I think we are talking about my past punya karmas, it must be in relation to Ishvara.
Can I say
Yeah,
something?
okay, in the form of what? It has a relation to Ishvara, but to have a connection with Ishvara, you have to have at least some kind of what?
Acceptance.
Yeah, acceptance,
Some
dharma
kinds-
behind your
karmas,
actions.
yeah.
Yeah, compassion for others.
But the compassion is actually be able to have the thought in your mind. This is where the compassion comes from. Because the event can be perceived in different ways. The compassion is how you're actually perceiving that event in your own mind.
Yeah.
And having the ability,
Okay, good.
the ability to actually convert. And I'm just going from a personal experience here.
I'm following you.
Because most of my life I felt very, very lucky.
Yeah.
Achieved lots of things, did lots of, and got lots of stuff. And then I had a massive event which went completely, overwhelmingly unlucky and just like lost everything. But then managed to see that I was even more lucky now than I was before.
Okay, now why do you say that? Because the way you managed that, the way what has
The way you
happened,
see
you
it
looked at it
also.
in a way that is in
But
harmony.
that was the compassion, the fact that I was able, because I could have dwelled in that negative space and just gone downhill with it forever and just never come back.
Good. So let's also want to address the instance. So let's say compassion is earned. A criminal can get compassion, but is it not true that in order to get compassion, you have to at least show some kind of willingness to change? So in this context, why does Bhagavan give compassion? Because the bhakta is showing willingness to transform his life. Imagine a person going, oh my God, I made a mistake. Please, someone help me. Then he's open to receiving help. So I give out of compassion. Whereas a person who says, I don't need anyone, can compassion work? Absolutely not. So we have to be talking about obviously one who is willing to transform their life.
And also, I think if you do things out of compassion, if you may appear to be compassionate with whatever you're doing, but ultimately in your buddhi, you're thinking of some gain, then it's not going to be compassion either.
Good, yeah. Then it's going to be
that ultimate thought is not right.
Yeah, so what's the intention behind my action afterwards? Yeah.
Like if you're waiting for an outcome for that.
Good.
So that means in a way this compassion is also related to what we talked about last week about someone who is worthy of a worthy recipient or something.
A worthy recipient, yeah. Yeah, worthy recipient.
You don't just give it anyhow, you give it to someone who is ready to receive or who is worthy to receive.
Yeah, it's related to that, isn't it? Someone who is worthy. But that means I need my own viveka, I need my own discrimination to first give. Okay, let's continue. Now, how will this Parameshwara give devotee Shreya? How exactly? Okay, then Krishna is going to say, okay, what is Shreya referring to? Buddhi yoga / jnana yoga. So how will he give? Atma bhavastaha. Now the word Atma doesn't always mean the self. You have to look at the context. So in this case, Atma refers to what? There's only one other option. Starts with A, the word Sanskrit word. Antah karana. What is antah karana? Antah, inner, karana, instrument, inner instrument. Now what does antah karana consist of? The mind, manas, responsible for emotions, buddhi, responsible for thinking, chitta, memory, and ahamkara, which is the owner. We will talk about ahamkara.
So that's the subtle body.
The subtle body, the sukshma sharira. So the antahkarana equals sukshma sharira. Now, sometimes I will use the word mind just to be short, okay? But you have to know exactly what I'm talking about. Atma is antahkarana. Bhava refers to vritti. What is vritti? Thought modification. Because all thoughts are constantly modifying. Where? In the antahkarana. So, now, I give. Who is this I that gives? Bhagavan. So I give because obtaining in and through every vritti within the antahkarana, not that I'm away, but I am obtaining in and through already every vritti in the antahkarana of a virat bhakta. So this removes the problem of dvaita. Because there's always this giver-taker duality that the mind establishes. Like there's a giver, Ishvara is there, and I'm the taker and I'm receiving this this knowledge, this compassion. That's why here Krishna uses the word aham. In other words, I, as the very self of every jiva, give shreyaha. Who's the self that's being referred to? Consciousness. Is consciousness ever away from any thought? No. In other words, consciousness pervading every thought. Because it pervades every thought, what does Krishna say? I, obtaining in and through every vritti, give shreyaha. That means there's no shaktipat, let me go to some person and let me receive some blessing. So obtaining as the essence of every vritti, what is the result of this? And then Krishna says, Nashyami tamaha. Tamaha means tama? Yeah, okay, referring. Nashyami, I destroy. Tama, which is I destroy delusion, I destroy ignorance, I destroy darkness of this person called Virat Bhakta. Because I have given them, through my sheer compassion, Shreyaha, which is Buddhi Yoga. What ignorance is being talked about? Because I do destroy ignorance, says Bhagavan, but what ignorance is this? What's the primary ignorance of all beings for all time, beginningless to the endless time? What does ignorance mean? With the body, mind, mithya. In other words, what is ignorance? What's primary ignorance? Identification or the self mistaking itself as the body, mind, and the body, mind is the self. That's what ignorance means. I mistake myself as this limited instrument. Okay, and how is this ignorance that we just spoke of sustained? How do you keep being ignorant? What do we have to do to continue being ignorant?
What do we have to do?
Identifying with the
Just continue living.
Identifying with the
Okay, good.
Pursuing your likes and dislikes as being objective in life.
Good, even better.
Yeah.
Ahankar.
Uh-huh.
Because of ahankar.
Yeah, ahankar. Okay, even closer. Okay. So, how do I continue being ignorant? All we have to do is practice aviveka. Lack of discrimination. Between what? Satya, mithya, or? Two more words.
Changing and unchanging.
And more words. And two more words.
Vibhuti and
Maya? No?
No.
I want to say vibhuti and maya. Atma and? Anatma. Self and not self. Okay. And why is this ignorance destroyed? Let's answer that. Why does someone's ignorance finally get destroyed after beginningless lifetimes?
Because you know the self.
Yeah. Okay, but what would lead you to know the self? What would make you come to that point? Knowledge, but how do you... because, okay, I get knowledge, but people walk out. There's something else involved.
Through a guru.
I can give you the knowledge and I can give you the guru, but still, there needs to be something on you, with you.
You have to surrender to.
Yeah,
Getting to learn
and how long? One day?
Doubtless
No,
awareness.
life after life.
And what's that called? Okay, commitment, dedication,
Bhakti.
yeah, persistence. Because times get hard, like this is not working, I don't really feel this is working, am I really getting it? So that means there has to be a thread of continuity. Now, how does Ishvara's grace destroy ignorance? That's the next question. And then, by shining the lamp of knowledge onto what? The ahamkara, the manas, the chitta, which one? Where does this knowledge get shone? Buddhi. Okay, because the buddhi is the place that ascertains that I am other than this body-mind. Okay, now, how does... Because lamp of knowledge refers to what? Atma Jnanam. So we ask, then how does this Atma Jnanam destroy ignorance? Now, to answer that, we will compare the difference between Anatma Jnanam and Atma Jnanam. In other words, knowledge of the world, worldly knowledge, getting certificates, for example, getting master degrees and being popular with some kind of intelligence in this world, and Atma Jnana, that means self-knowledge. So let's look at Anatmajnanam. Okay? Anatmajnana means worldly knowledge. Now, to know anything in this world, two components are required. Okay, give me one topic, and you want to master it. Give me one topic.
History.
Huh?
History.
History. Okay, about what? Any specifics? How about Mesopotamia? Okay, something else, please. Give me one topic. You wanna learn it.
Physics.
Or just put language. You wanna remove ignorance pertaining to Arabic. Okay? Because that's a topic. I wanna learn how to speak Arabic. Now, why did I say remove ignorance pertaining to Arabic?
Because you don't know any.
Yeah, so in other words, there is no such thing as gaining anything. I only destroy ignorance pertaining to the topic which I'm trying to learn. So, I want to learn, or I want to remove worldly knowledge called Arabic. What is involved? Subject and object. Now, what's the object? Easy.
The words.
Huh?
The words. The
No,
language.
no, the object is Arabic. Okay, the topic matter that I want to remove ignorance about is Arabic. Now, what's the subject?
Me. Me.
Okay, now the subject is the limited, finite I am. The learner. The very person who is trying to learn. Now, what is this I am that I'm referring to? Now comes the word ahamkara. Now, what does ahamkara mean? Don't use the E word, please. In one word, ahamkara means knower. That one which knows about all things that are occurring to this individual and the transactions to the world. We use the word knower, pramata, at some session, I think it was session 79. So ahamkara is the knower. I'm not talking about atma knower, I'm talking about the knower person. Now let's look at this word ahamkara. Because ahamkara remains for both the jnani and ajnani. It's not like the jnani doesn't have, ahamkara, because there needs to be a cognizing principle to cognize the world, to transact with the world. Now, what's the difference for the ahamkara between a jnani and an ajnani, a wise person and an ignorant person? Both bodies need the ahamkara. For the ajnani's standpoint, for an ignorant person, the ahamkara means what?
Delusion.
For him it is satya.
Oh.
Ajnani feels this is it.
It's for the self.
It's satya.
It's the self, okay? In other words, I am. When a person says I am, is referring to ahamkara. And what is this I am when we say I am? I am what? I am a doer. I am an experiencer of what? Of thinking, of emoting, of calculating, of planning, of going, of managing. Who is? I am. Now, I say the word doer, and this word gets thrown around so many times, you're not a doer. Now, what does the doer word mean? I'll give you a new definition. When we say you are a doer, or the person is the ajnani is a doer, think of it this way. What does an actor do? Act. Okay. Now, what happens if they forgets the role? He does a real good job, actually. Right? He probably gets fired later on. So, for the ajnani, what is the ahamkara? The ahamkara is that doer in jor. Now, what is the word doer? Doer is I am an actor whom I don't see myself apart from. That's who I am. I am this actor. In what? In all of the roles that I play, I am the very actor that's playing these roles. Now, from a jnani's standpoint, that same ahamkara, how do we interpret that for a jnani? Objective mechanism for transacting with the world. Without the ahamkara, there will be no way to particularize the experience to just one single body. You wouldn't know who is who or what is what. So the ahamkara is necessary for a jnani and a ajnani. So, how do we start this question? I wanted to remove ignorance pertaining to Arabic. Now, I have removed ignorance regarding Arabic, but what has removed? The ahamkara. But what happened to the ahamkara? What happened to this I? the status of the ahamkara has been retained. The ahamkara still remains ignorant. In other words, the ahamkara has removed Arabic or whatever language they mastered, whatever certificate they got, but the very person behind that knowledge still doesn't have any clue who or what she is. So what really happened? Nothing. In other words, all this knowledge is resting on what? On a foundation that doesn't know who or what it is. So has anything been actually earned in that case? Nothing. Because who's this person that's upholding all of this? But they have removed worldly knowledge. Now, let's look at Atma Jnanam. When this Atma Jnanam is assimilated in the buddhi, then it destroys the mistaken notion that I am this ahamkara. With what kind of knowledge does it destroy it? With opposing knowledge. And what is this opposing knowledge? I am the very awareness in which the ahamkara operates. I am the very awareness because of which this knower knows. So, what has the buddhi ascertained? The subject is the self, but the self is not the subject. Just like a wave is the ocean, but you cannot call the ocean the wave, because the ocean is so much more than a single wave. And what else has this buddhi recognized? It has recognized that the knower, ahamkara, the known, what is the known? No, the known is the object of knowledge. Okay, the knower always knows about the known. So the known is the object. So the knower, the known, and knowledge. Now what is knowledge referring? I'm not talking about Atma, knowledge of. I'm talking about?
No, it's the subject.
Yeah. Buddhi, yeah. So in other words, the cognizing instrument which assimilates the data from the external world. Where does this assimilation happen? In the antahkarana, not just the buddhi, because you also need the emotions, you also need memory, you also need the ahankara to say, yes, tree. Okay? So the knower, the known, and the knowledge are all mithya, resolving into what? Satyam. That's what the buddhi has ascertained. Not only has this knower is being resolved in the satyam, but also the object, because the object is not separate from me, right? It's right. Is this separate from you? Right? Is it? Where is it occurring? It's in your mind. The mind is the antahkarana, and the mind is pervaded by what? The very self. Therefore, nothing is away from you.
But then I get confused when you say that, but you also say the knower, known, and the knowledge is all mithya. Yet it's mithya, yet it's still not away from me. It is the self.
Yeah, mithya means dependent. It's dependent on awareness. It's dependent on the awareness which illumines the antahkarana, illumines the object in the mind. For example, right now, this Andre is an object in your mind, and illumines the knowledge. The knowledge is what? The total experience which your antahkarana has assimilated. All of that is being shone on in and through by consciousness. I'll give you an example. What is, trick question, or maybe not, 25 divided by 2? Okay? 25 divided by 2. Okay, what just happened now when I asked this question? Sound came into your mind. Okay? Through the what? Jnana indriyani. Into the antahkarana. The antahkarana is a container for this knowledge. It refers to the intellect. What does this mean? Intellect refers to the chitta, to the memory. What do I know about the number 2, about the number 5, the number divide? What does divide mean? And then once the buddhi got the confirmation, it referred to the manas. Do I feel confident about this? The manas, yes. This is like a confident answer. And then what owned that answer? The antahkarana. The knower of that answer is the antahkarana. And what does the person say? I did it. I solved the equation. But what actually did it? The antahkarana, the entire system of the buddhi, the intellect, and the chitta. In other words, in my awareness, in my presence, this was solved. This is what it means to say I am not a doer. If I say I did it, you're identifying with what? The very ahamkara, which own the experience of what the intellect, what the mind, and what the memory has ascertained on the basis of 25 divided by 2. But if you understand, you can still say, you know, I did it, as long as you know that there is a principle behind the I that has done it, which is consciousness. Okay, next. Jnana dipena bhaswata. So Ishvara shines this lamp of knowledge onto the bhakta's mind because of the bhakta's commitment. Now Shankara uses a lovely example here. He compares this dawn of knowledge. What is dawn of knowledge? When the knowledge is firm. He says this dawn of knowledge is comparable to a lighted lamp. Now, what does the lighted lamp imply? Oil, wick, flame, oxygen. Okay, so we're going to look at all of them. What does the oil represent? What do you think? Oil represents bhakti. Now, bhakti or cheerfulness. There is no bhakti unless there is cheerfulness. Cheerfulness and bhakti are always together. So it represents bhakti or cheerfulness or love / affection. Love and affection are very close words. What's the difference between love and devotion? Devotion means bhakti. What is love? We discussed this last week. Yes? Understanding through the course of time. Spending time with the person, with the thing, getting to know it. How do you work? What is it about you that makes you tick in the way that you tick? Now, what's the difference between love and devotion?
Expression.
Huh?
Expression.
Okay, close. Mohan, you want to turn on the fan?
Yep, sure.
Now, number 2 is a good.
Could it be that after some time of devotion, you have love?
Good. Now that sometime, something happens in that time that converts it from love into devotion. So, devotion
to love.
that converts love to devotion. Because devotion is so much more than just much greater than love. You can love your boss, but you're not devoted to your boss. Okay, you can love...
But I thought love in this term was meaning understanding.
It is understanding, however devotion is so much more than
Commitment
just
is more of a
understanding.
commitment.
Surrendering to
Yeah.
that love.
Devotion is more commitment. Would that be a word you're throwing there as
I
well?
thought you have to...
Okay, just follow along.
Yep.
Okay, so what is devotion? Devotion is love with, you know what the word love means? Understanding through the course of time. With respect and reverence. Now, what does the word respect mean? How do you respect something or someone? What does it mean to respect?
Accept
Yeah,
that
full
thing
faith
for
in
what it
it.
is.
Huh? Yeah, you accept for what it is. There's okay,
You
more.
have full faith and trust in them.
Okay, but how do you say I respect you? Why do I respect you? Or you?
You admire
Yeah, but why? Why do you admire?
because
Because of their qualities?
Good qualities.
Okay, good qualities. So, when somebody has qualities or values which you consider very important, which you cherish and you personally believe are worthwhile and they are important values in life, then we have respect for that person. Because somebody else may not respect them. Why? Because to them those values do not matter. For example, a rich person is not going to necessarily value a saint. They're going to value who? Another rich person, right? Someone who is successful in money. So in other words, as long as I see a value in you that I cherish because I know it is important in life, I know it is worth living for, and you have that and you exude that in a beautiful manner that inspires me, I respect you. So respect can be equated to value that pertains to the world, because you can't respect consciousness, can you? So respect refers to something of the worldly nature which is worth living for. And if somebody has that or something represents that, I respect it. Now, what does the word reverence mean? You may respect your employer, but you may not necessarily revere them. What does the word reverence mean?
You put them higher than yourself.
Okay, think about the word reverence. I revere, reverence. I prostrate.
The qualities that you admire, the value system
That
you
you aspire
admire.
to.
Aspire to.
Worship them.
Yeah.
Too strong a word.
faith in them.
Okay, but that's respect also. But
Worship.
reverence,
Worship.
I have reverence for. Do you have what do we have reverence for? Something that is
Spiritual and
spiritual. Yeah, something that is holy in nature, something that represents divinity. So whatever represents something that just touches that heart, that inner, like, wow, it inspires me in that it represents divinity itself, I revere. So what if respect is worldly, then reverence is spiritual. It is spiritual in nature. So that's why we revere those Ishta Devatas, because they to us represent what? Divinity itself. They represent Bhagavan. So now, devotion is love with respect and devotion. That means not only do I understand deeply what I am devoted to, but I also respect it because it contains a value, or it holds values which I deeply cherish for myself and are worth living for and I aspire to. And not only that, but it also represents, or it's a very symbol of divinity itself. It reminds me of divinity. It enacts divinity in my own self when I come in contact with it or when I think about it. Thus, I am devoted. You can also have two partners who are devoted to each other. You can have two partners who love each other and two partners who are devoted to each other. What's the difference? Partners who love each other, they love each other. But partners who are devoted to each other not only respect each other because they both have values that they both cherish in each other, but also both of them can see reverence, reverentiality, divinity in each other. Now, how do you see reverence in another thing? Can you see reverence if the mind is polluted and tamaguna? No. In other words, in order to feel reverence for something, I have to have what kind of a mind? Sattvic mind. How do you get a sattvic mind? Karma Yoga, chapter 3. Do you see now why there's no skipping straight into stage 3? Everything's a self-awareness. The mind is not going to understand that because it first needs to cherish and see what it means to revere the total, because I'm not apart from the total. Now, what is wick? That's the oil. Okay, oil equals devotion or cheerfulness. Now you know what the word devotion means. What is the wick? The wick represents the buddhi purified by buddhi yoga. The intellect that is being purified through the exposure of jnana yoga. So this means the wick is soaked in what? The oil. In other words, my buddhi being purified through jnana yoga is soaked in devotion, which is of love, reverence, and respect. In other words, the person doesn't just get this knowledge and go, oh, now I know, this is all, one, and that's it, that's the end of it. No, it is soaked consistently in devotion. And what happens if it's not soaked in devotion?
It burns and disappears.
This happens very often. You go to Tirumavalai, in the Arunachala mountain, all the time, people walking with this high knowledge 30 years later. I've been in this and suddenly I feel as a person unfulfilled. In other words, if there is no buddhi being soaked in the oil, the person will turn very serious. Now, why does a spiritual seeker, turn serious? The reason is because the life becomes about judging whether I'm having saintly thoughts or unsaintly thoughts. When a person gets unsaintly thought, they go, what's wrong with me? I'm holy, I've got all this knowledge and now I'm having all these negative thoughts. Something's wrong with me. Now, how do you solve this problem? Because the point is, the thoughts are never going to leave till the day we die. Do you think a jnana is free of these thoughts? No, because this is a collective mind. You're not away from Kali Yuga. Whatever age you're born in, you're going to share the collective knowledge, the collective thinking of everyone else. So how do you deal with this problem?
Self-knowledge.
Attention to it.
Huh?
Don't pay attention to it.
Self-knowledge.
Self-knowledge is there, but the thoughts are still going to come and go.
Don't pay attention to it.
Okay. Okay, that's close, but understand that thoughts, there is no good or bad thoughts. There is only what? Thought. They're just content arising in the antahkarana, being sustained for a while and dissolving, one after the other. They all come and go. Which thought still is of the same quality and the same intensity as it was at some point in the past? Not a single thought. Therefore, how do we deal with negative thoughts? Understand it, that it is just a thought. It is neither good nor bad. This is called objectivity. What else does this mean? It means that good or bad thoughts make no difference. What makes the actual difference in life? Actions. So this means you can have two rooms, room A, room B. Person in room A thinks bad thoughts about their entire family all day long. And they come out, the first gesture is politeness. Excellent. Versus room B. The person thinks good thoughts about their family all day long. Positive, I love my family. They walk out of the room, first gesture, impoliteness. Which one's better? Room A. All that matters is action. You can have thoughts all day long that are representative of murdering someone. It doesn't matter because they're just thoughts coming and going. All that matters is how I deal with the person. How do I express myself in terms of action in this world? Now, where is the wick located? Inside the lamp. What does the lamp represent? Antahkarana. Because the wick is what? The buddhi. Where is the buddhi? Inside the antahkarana. Now what happens? How do you have to protect that lamp? From what? From outside wind. Now what is the wind compared to? Strong winds compared to binding likes and dislikes. If a person has binding likes and dislikes, I have to. If I don't, I'll suffer. Strong repulsions, strong aversions, strong joys. If that is strong, then that's going to put out the what? The flame in the antahkarana. It's going to put out the wick. Now the wick is burnt, has what? It has flame. What does flame represent? Fire of self-knowledge. In other words, I have to protect the fire of self-knowledge from likes and dislikes. Now, what does this flame specifically mean, the fire of self-knowledge? It means I never lose sight of the identity between the jiva and Ishvara. I know the commonality between them both. Just like the wave never loses sight between itself and the ocean. What's the commonality? The water, H2O. What does oxygen represent? What does oxygen do to the flame? It's a yeah, it keeps it going. It sustains the flame. How do you sustain the flame of self-knowledge? Shastra, which involves Ninityaslam. Excellent. Now, what happens if I apply too much oxygen? The fire turns into either a conflagration or it gets put out. In other words, I neither apply too much oxygen, neither too little. What does this mean? I neither attend or Vedanta just maybe once in a while, nor do I just go full on into this and try to become some big person about it, because it's going to put out the flame of self-knowledge. Balance, moderation, middle way. How does a person know if they're following the middle way? You will know. Okay, you will not feel resistance to it. You will not feel like you're trying to, go somewhere beyond your limits. It's natural. A mom never overfeeds her child, but gives exactly how much the child needs. In the same way, you never overfeed yourself with knowledge. Because why? The mind has to ascertain it. It has to assimilate it. Now, next verse, 12 and 13. Yes?
I got one question. As this says, for them alone out of compassion.
Yeah.
So which means, then how does the Virat Bhakta get compassion from the one?
Through their own
actions?
punya karma, through their own actions. I invoke compassion. Compassion refers to grace. I invoke grace through my own punya karma.
Just now I think you touched on something quite interesting. You're saying that the thoughts don't really matter, but it's the action. But we have been exposed so much to saying that the thoughts determine the action, actions determine the habit becomes the character or something. I think this is what Gandhi
I
said.
remember that. Yeah.
So, but now you're saying something like, now the teaching is that the thoughts don't really matter. What matters is the action.
Yeah, because that was the earlier stage. So we're looking at it from a different angle now.
Okay. So.
Okay, see, both of them, they're not excluded because, yes, your thought will lead to the character, and the character will lead to thinking in the right way, and thinking the right way will lead to punya karma, and punya karma will invoke grace, and grace will bring me buddhi yoga, and buddhi yoga will bring moksha. Does that answer?
What if I pray for someone's death? Would that be kapha and karma?
No, that's going to hurt you because that's going against, the law of ahimsa.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not going to affect them. Only your actions count.
It'll affect the person who's thinking
Yeah,
like
it'll
that.
affect you.
It will affect the person who's
thinking. For the person who's thinking.
Yeah, exactly. In other words, Buddha said being angry at someone is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die.
So that's right. So I thought that the thoughts thoughts itself have a karmic.
It does. Good. Yeah.
But then now it appears you're saying that the thoughts itself may not have a karmic consequence if it is not related to an action.
Yeah, if you hold yourself back and you don't express that, it's not going to have any karmic effect. Now, there is a truth to that. If the thought gets put more fuel to that fire, then the thought gets so big the person is unable to do anything about it. They just go act it out. In that case, it would lead to punya, papa karma. But at the same time, the person becomes strong and they recognize these are just thoughts. As strong as they are, as convincing as they are, they're going to die out. And as a result of that, they don't act them out. Therefore, they don't gain any papa karma.
So that means as long as the thought is not acted out, there should be no karmic consequence.
Excellent.
This is a lower understanding.
I guess what you're really saying is that once you've rationalized your thought, you've discriminated that this is good or not good, and put it away, then it's okay.
So
you don't have to take a negative thought too seriously because you've had one.
Yeah.
It's how you've dealt with it.
It's how you dealt
It's that lower understanding and higher understanding of the same thing.
I think it's also because we think that a bad thought has a karmic consequence, so we keep suppressing it, maybe.
To the person who's thinking it. It will hurt them while they're thinking that thought. And it will hurt them so much, eventually they will get really frustrated and start to look for a way not to have such thoughts. That's why we have people going to positive thinking eventually. They're tired of their negative thoughts.
Could we actually say that there is karma in thinking, but karma that comes back to your own mind only?
Yeah, because the very mind that's thinking it is experiencing the effects.
The more you think of something, the more you will continue to.
Yeah, you will add more fuel to it, yeah. Just like if you want something, the more you think about it, the more it becomes harder to not say, to say no to. Right? Eventually it's like, it's too late now. It's so strong and I'll be bothered by it now all day long unless I get it.
Yeah.
That's why, because I wasn't attending to my thought early on. If it gets too hot, you can turn on the aircon.
But also, I mean, when you've got those thoughts which you're trying to hold yourself back from taking action, sometimes it can be appropriate to take action, but not in a reactive way, but in a conscious. So you actually do take the action, but take it at a higher level of acting.
Good. In other words, you do the best you can to avoid conflict or to avoid conflict.
Because sometimes the inaction can be just as negative as taking proper.
Yeah, it's like silent talk, silent treatment. Silent treatment is still an action, and it does sometimes more damage than good. So the person says something honest.
So conscious action is what we're probably saying has been the punya karma.
Arjuna uvacha param brahma param dhamma pavitram paramam bhavan purusham shashwatam divyam adidevam ajam vibhum ahustvam rishayah sarve devarishir naradasthatha asito devalo vyasaha swayam chaiva bravishime.
revered one, you are limitless Brahma, the light of all lights, the most purifying. All the sages, including Narada, the sage among gods, Astita, Devala, and Vyas talk of you as the eternal being, not of this world, the cause of all the gods, unborn and all pervasive. And indeed, you yourself tell me so.
Okay. A lot of information that Arjuna is giving back as feedback, what Arjuna has learned so far. Okay, now Krishna has finished speaking about Ishvara Swarupam and the benefits of Virat Bhakta. So that's over the topic. Now here, Arjuna expresses between verse 12 to 18 an interest to hear more thoroughly about Bhagavan's glories. He's not satisfied. He wants, okay, you told me some glories, I want more. Because obviously he's paying attention. So now Arjuna begins by sharing first what he learned so far. And we will now see if we understand what Arjuna understands. So he starts. O Krishna, okay, O revered one, Param Brahma. In other words, you are the highest Nirguna Brahman appearing as Saguna Ishvara. In other words, dressed up Brahman with Maya clothing equals Ishvara. So what is Ishvara? When Brahman is dressed up by his own power called Maya. In other words, Brahman and Vibhuti is Ishvara. Now, what is undressed Ishvara? What is Ishvara that's naked? What do you get then? Brahman. Excellent. Okay, so that's a nice way to understand it. You are also Param Dhamma. In other words, you are the light of all lights. You're the light because of which we can see, we can hear, we can smell, we can touch, we can communicate, we can do anything. In other words, you're the light of consciousness that illumines everything. Also, this can mean abode, Dhamma. In other words, you are, O Bhagavan, the most exalted one, reaching which there is no further end. That means there's no higher goal than Ishvara. Also, Paramam Pavitram, you are the most sacred, the most holiest. In other words, anything that becomes holy, we call a person holy or saintly. Why is that? Because of their association to the holiest, which is Bhagavan. So whenever we say, wow, I revere this person, I revere this devata, I revere whatever it is, it's only because that which I revere is borrowing its holiness from the holiest, which is Bhagavan. For this reason, such a person has their isolation or feelings of isolation destroyed. Why? You know, when we feel alone, I feel isolated or alone, and then I need or lonely. Why do we feel that? Because we think that, yeah, I'm a separate vibhuti from all other vibhutis. In other words, this person knows that the many resolve into one, and I'm not apart from the many. Thus, what is there to feel lonely or isolated or lost in this world? You are the Purusha. Now, Purushaha is a word that has two meanings. Meaning one. You have to take this down because Shastra will be speaking about Purushaha ongoingly. One day they will say this kind of Purusha and this kind of, which one Purusha is speaking of. Two meanings. Meaning one. The one who inherits this body, mind, intellect. The one that is enclosed in this body-mind complex. Resident of Sthula Sukshma Sharira. What am I talking about here? Resident of Stula Sukshma Sharira. There's another name for it. Jiva. Okay, so what's a jiva? The one who inherits. A jiva is a mind and intellect that can inherit a body, but the jiva can also be without a physical body. Because when there's death, what happens? The mind body survives. So what survives? The jiva survives. And what is the jiva? What happens then? Inherits a new body based on past karma, sanchita karma. So when I talk of jiva, it can mean what? Mind, intellect plus body, or mind, intellect without the body. And definition 2 of Purusha is one who fills up everything. Careful with that word who, put quotes, because I don't want to turn Ishvara into a person. One which fills up everything. Now, suppose you create a mantra out of this and you say Purushoham Purushaha. Okay, so what does this mean? Purushaha, aham Purushaha, Purushoham Purushaha. I am that one, or one who is seemingly enclosed in this body-mind complex is indeed the limitless Purusha who fills up everything. Purushoham Purushaha. Direct translation will be, I am the Purusha, which is the Purusha. Now, which Purusha are you talking about? What do you mean? I am a Purusha, which Purusha? But if you know these two definitions, you can say, I am that one who is seemingly enclosed in this body-mind complex, who in truth is actually the Purusha which fills up everything. And which Purusha is that? Ishvara. Okay. And then Shashwatam. I am the eternal one. Just like, for example, the Purusha leaves the body, leaves the house is empty, yeah? I'm talking about a jiva with a body now. When you leave your house, the house is empty. But the jiva is still alive, is not? The jiva continues. So just like the jiva or the Purusha continues even after leaving the body. Now, careful here. What Purusha am I talking about? Am I talking about Jnani Purushaha or Ajnani Purushaha? Which Purushaha inherits a new body? Ajnani or an Ajnani Purushaha? Ajnani. So therefore, after death of the physical body, the Ajnani Purushaha inherits a new body. But what happens to the Jnani Purushaha? The moksha dissolves as one with Brahman. No more need to come back and experience oneself as this limited form.
What is Atman that goes across, not another jiva?
Atman doesn't go anywhere. Atman is just consciousness. The jiva, ignorant jiva will take on a new body to continue exhausting its karma. This karma will be stopped exhausted when the jiva realizes that I'm not this jiva. I'm not this body, mind, intellect.
But so if someone attains moksha, then don't come back into a body to expand this knowledge to us?
Yeah, consciousness doesn't need to come back because consciousness is the truth of the whole universe.
So what you're saying is that at death, the ignorant one will come back, whereas the one who is not ignorant will just
dissolve into the one ocean of everything. Now together, putting these three words, Purusham Shashwatam Divyam, the second line. You are thus the eternal one who is the self of all. This is why we do namaskara, by the way, in some cultures. Because why? I see this body in front of me as the very manifestation of the one. That's why namaskara exists, instead of hi.
You have answered my question, because this was what my question, that why do we...
Yeah, I'm acknowledging that you are indeed of the one. You're just one single wave of the entire ocean, and we're not separate. Instead of hi, 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 hi. This is how they chase cows off in India. Hi, 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 hi. Okay, Adideva. So this same Parameshwara, who was existent before all devas came, okay, like what? Who's the first deva? Brahmaji. Because Brahmaji is the, remember I spoke about how when Ishvara plays the role of creator, we call that Brahmaji. So from Brahmaji being the first deva, came then Indra, Varuna, etc. So you are that one who existed even before all of the gods. Why? Well, because you're the truth of everything, truth of everyone. Now Ajam, you're the one who is unborn, meaning you are a cause without a cause. Everything else in this world has a cause previously. Where does it stop? At what point does it stop? Consciousness. Consciousness does not have a cause. So thus consciousness is the highest reality, awareness. And Vibhum, you are never away, even from the person who is saying you are never away. And even from the person who is saying away from what? In other words, you are all pervasive. Now moving on to verse 13. Sarve rishayaha ahuhu. This knowledge is not only spoken by you, Krishna, but it is also spoken by rishis whose opinions we cannot negate. There is not a single thing that Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that it hasn't already been mentioned in the Vedas, in the Upanishads. And then Deva Rishihi Naradaha. In other words, even the heavenly sages like Narada, Narada is like a mobile teacher, he travels and he teaches. Even they revere you. And also Asitaha, Devalaha, Vyasaha. These are all rishis. Asita is, Devala is a son of sage Asita, and Vyasa is the compiler of the Vedas, and also the author of Brahma Sutra and Mahabharata. We will talk about the source of the Veda, Vyasa, Brahma Sutra, Bhagavad Gita in Tattva Bodha. I will address this. Where does the Veda come from, and what's the who put it together, and what's the relevance of it? And then Swayam Chaiva Bravishime. So you declare this, the one whom I have total Shraddha in. Because you say this, I believe it. That's what Arjuna is saying. Because your logic is so impeccable that I cannot negate anything you're saying, thus I have full Shraddha in you. Now we'll finish. Verse 14 and 15 are not long, so we are on good time. Now verse 14 will add credibility to verse 13 and 12, what we've just done. Sarvam etadritam manye yanmam vadasi keshava nahite bhagavan vyaktim vidur deva nadanavaha.
All this which you have told me, Keshava, Krishna, I consider true. Indeed, neither the celestials nor the Rakshasas know your manifestation. They do not know what you are, O Lord.
Tat ritam manye. I consider this knowledge to be absolutely true. Now this word ritam means truth. Satyam also means truth. Now we have to compare these two words to get the definition of ritam because it's an important word. Now when I say satyam, I'm not talking about satyamitya. I'm talking about in relevance to speaking. Remember satyam vadam? Okay. So Arjuna says, I consider Krishna your words to be true. True refers to ritam. He doesn't say your words are satyam. Why is that? Because there's a difference between ritam and satyam. Now let's talk about satyam. When you speak knowledge which is in alignment with what you know, that is satyam. So in other words, when my inner knowledge represents the outer experience and I speak words which represent the inner knowledge, that is called satyam vadam. You follow that? So I see something, the inner knowledge exactly matches what I have seen. I'm not putting it higher or lower, I'm objectively seeing it. And then when I speak it, the words represent my inner knowledge. That's called Satyam Vadam. You follow me? Now, what happens if the inner knowledge has witnessed something, but it has misinterpreted it, and thus when you speak the words, it does represent the inner knowledge, but that knowledge is actually false. In other words, I think it's true, but it's actually false. But I still speak the truth because I know it. That is also called Satyam Vadam. See, the person is not lying. They're saying honestly what they know. But what they know is actually, upon research, false. So now, Satyam Vadam has a little problem there. That's why we bring in Ritam Vadam. So what is Ritam Vadam? When what I have experienced, when my inner knowledge matches outer experience or outer knowledge, and what I speak matches the inner knowledge, and not only that, but the inner knowledge is in line with the Shastra, in line with what the Rishis have said, that is called Ritam Vadam. Because what the Rishis have already ascertained is non-negatable. And if I speak that which is non-negatable, then my words are 100% truthful. Therefore, Ritam Vadam is higher than Satyam Vadam. Because anyone can speak the truth, but has it been really verified? Unless you have referred to the Shastra, contemplated on the Shastra, you cannot trust that source. Because the whole point of the Shastra is that which is non-negatable. That's why we don't teach without the Shastra, because the human being always makes a mistake. They always add their own subjectivity onto that knowledge. So we need the Shastra, even the teacher needs the Shastra, so he doesn't mix that knowledge with his own opinion or her own opinions.
Is it similar to this fact that you see on TV or media, whatever information, and then you go and speak about that information?
Yeah.
Putting your opinion on it, that's Satyam.
Yeah, that's also Satyam Vadam, because that's not, you've concluded it to be true, but it's true for you, it's not true on the absolute sense.
Yeah, because you're taking it from another source, isn't
it? Excellent, So in other words, Satyam Vadam can go into a disinformation mode. I'm speaking the truth, but it's all unverified, unchecked.
But you could also speak truthfully, but not really Satyam Vadam, because you don't really understand that truth. So you're speaking the words of the Shastra because you don't really have a deep understanding.
Right, it's still Ritam Vadam. Right,
it's because still Ritam, but it's not Satyam Vadam.
Okay, it's Ritam.
It's not really what is inside your mind or.
It is still Ritam Vadam because you're not, you've checked, you've aligned that knowledge with the Shastra. Right? Whether you understand it or not, it's still Ritam Vadam because it is in line with the absolute sense of the Shastra. Yeah. It will be helpful if you do understand it because then it has real meaning behind it. But that's a good point, you've added another layer to it. So what Arjuna is saying is, Krishna, your words are not Satyam Vadam, your words are Ritam Vadam. Because what is Krishna speaking? Knowledge which coincides or which correlates with the Upanishads. Then Devaha Danavaha Te Vyaktim Na Viduhu. So even the gods, which we had celestials here, Rakshasas, even the gods do not know your full glory because they are all within time and space. That which is the cause of time and space is obviously higher than whatever is in time and space. Even Brahmaji is in time and space. So you are that one that is out of time and space because you are the beginningless first cause. Okay, next verse. Arjuna is going to share further a little bit what he has understood. Swayam evat manat manam veta tvam purushottama Bhuta bhavana bhutesha Deva deva jagatpate.
You yourself know yourself with your own mind. Purushottama, Krishna, the creator of all beings, the ruler of all beings, the lord of the gods, the lord of creation.
Okay, Purushottama is referring to Krishna. This is another name for Ishvara. So you can see Arjuna is starting to use more names now. He used Bhagavan in the previous verse, now he's using Purushottama. I added Parameshwara. Okay, so we're filling up your knowledge base. Or we can do, 1,000 names of the Lord also. You gotta know all of them. And yeah, okay, so this word Purushottama is a technical word which will be discussed deeply in chapter 15. Chapter 15 is an excellent chapter because Krishna is going to divide the entire creation into three, which is Kshara Purushaha, manifest matter, Akshara Purushaha, unmanifest matter, and Uttama Purushaha, Chaitanya Swarupam. In other words, the consciousness principle. So if you say Purushottama here, which means what? I am the consciousness which accommodates manifest and unmanifest matter and remains free of the contaminations of the manifest and the unmanifest. It remains free of the accommodated. Then Bhuta Bhavana. So you are the substratum, O Krishna, from which matter, word coming, evolves. Stage 2 or stage 3? Evolves. Matter evolves. Stage 2. You are the substratum out of which matter evolves. Does matter really evolve out of? No, because then you're saying consciousness has attributes. If you can evolve something out of it. Bhutesha. Because you are sarvajna, which means omnipresent, of all manifestations, for that reason, you also have to be the sustainer and the maintainer of whatever has been created. If you go to a messy room of a teenager, right, you think it's all messed up, right? Well, that teenager knows exactly where things are. Why? Because they made that room. Whatever you create, you know. In the same way, the universe being created, everything is known that is created. There is nothing that is out of place, that is unknown. For example, every single child has their milk teeth falling out at the right time. Bhagavan doesn't go, oh, I forgot Dave, 30 years later, milk teeth, right? Oh, I forgot Martin's heartbeat, sorry, man. I'm not going to do it again. So in other words, whatever is created doesn't get forgotten about. It is fully maintained and preserved and sustained and cared for every single second or microsecond of every moment. And Jagatpate, the last word, Jagatpate. So you are the protector of this world from those who try to destroy it. Every once in a while, this will never end. They will have people who will try to have power over a country, or they will try to build, separation, conquer things. It can also happen in communities. You are the one who will always protect this world from being destroyed, from atom bombs and everything. Why? Because I act through the instrument called the human body. That's why we have these freedom fighters. They always go, it starts as a thought, I need to do something about this. And then they make like Gandhi, right? And they eventually make a big difference and it has a transformation in life. So I act through people who are willing participants, and those participants will help to sustain this world, because you can't have a thunder shooting from the sky and then destroying someone. So I act through people, and that's how I preserve and sustain this world. So there's no such thing as doomsday. These are all ideas, conspiracies. Because how is a jiva supposed to exhaust their karma if the world blows up? And then swayam eva atmanat manam veta. So you alone know yourself completely, because you alone are the total. Nobody knows more the total than the total itself, because you are all knowledge, sarvajna. In other words, you are the first guru out of which all other gurus remove their avidya, remove their ignorance. The only principle that doesn't have ignorance is Bhagavan. Everyone else only got to remove their ignorance because of Bhagavan. So whenever we revere these people who are worthy of reverence. They all were ignorant at some point. Nobody's except, not even Shankara, nobody. That's why we always invoke Ishvara at the start. Because we're saying without that first guru, from which none of this could take place, none of these books could take place, we prostrate that one. So we all depended on Ishvara to remove our ignorance. And next week, verse 15, glorification of Ishvara is complete. So we will speak about Arjuna asking a favor from Krishna. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.